So people want to hire their kids, but they really do not know how to, if they need to issue W-2s or if they actually need to pay them 1099s. Which one is cheaper, which saves more taxes, is it one is better than the other? There's so many questions like that. I'm Ashish with Investor Friendly CPA, and today I'm trying to answer those questions. This might be a little longer than normal. I'll try to go fast, but you do need to talk to your overview of how to hire your kids and what can you expect from tax savings and cost. So you can hire your kid as an employee or a contractor. What does that mean? Employee gets paid a W-2, contractor gets paid 1099. Okay, and both of them have their own pros and cons. Why do you do that? Obviously save taxes and give some experience to your kid. We'll go into much more detail next on these concepts. So why you should hire a kid? Very simple. If you look here, I've listed down basic reasons. To reduce your taxable income, to reduce your payroll taxes, you can shift your income from your tax bracket to your lower tax bracket or zero tax bracket to your kids. Your children can contribute to your retirement accounts if you know which accounts to contribute. You can also give them work ethic since they're a kid. And it's very important. Succession planning is one of the important area too. You need to think about it. If you own a business, you need to introduce your business to your kid. Otherwise, they might not want to continue your legacy. It gets very important as you mature your business. So those are the reasons which you should consider hiring your kids. So what's the difference between paying W-2 versus paying 1099? Again, W-2 goes to your employees, 1099 goes to a contractor. So what do you need to understand? When you pay 1099, your kid has to pay self-employment tax. Self-employment tax is basically same as a FICA tax you pay the W-2 level, but who pays it is different. If independent contractors are liable for their own tax payments. So if you pay them at 1099, they will pay self-employment tax. If you pay them W-2, then taxes are withheld by you, the employer, and your kid also pays half of it. It's automatic. You don't actually have to go pay. The W-2 automatically withholds both portion of that. Now, which one is better? We'll run some numbers in the next few minutes, but you need to understand how they are different. Sometimes it's not an option to choose between two. You might need to issue W-2 based on the employment relationship you have with the kid. There's strict rules you got to follow. If you're a W-2 employee, you need to pay them W-2. You cannot act like they're an independent contractor. So you need to understand those rules. 1099 is kind of free. If you pay your kid 1099, all you have to do is transfer money from your business bank account to your children's bank account, and then you issue 1099 early next year. But W-2, you have to file a quarterly report with the IRS. You have to actually file a payroll tax return. You have to issue W-2 it gets complicated and expensive than running a 1099. And we'll walk you through the numbers in the next few minutes. Paying 1099s can trigger tax filing requirements. You can avoid that with W-2. And I'll show you that in numbers in the next few minutes. If you issue W-2 to your kids, that will also disqualify you for solo 401k. If you have a solo 401k, if you have an outside employee, then it will also disqualify you for a solo 401k. So those are some of the things you need to understand W-2 versus 1099. Let's talk about these 5 legal aspect. Okay, make sure you're following the hourly wages rules and duties. You need to have that in contract. You need to understand the legal requirement of hiring your kids. Understand that you need to issue W-2 and tax identification numbers for your business. You need to get all of these to hire your kid. And you need to understand all of these aspects as well. One of the biggest question I get is this. Okay, I'm a S Corp, I'm a C Corp, I'm a single member LLC, or I have a partnership. How do I choose what to do? Understanding this one slide can help you make those decisions. The reason most people hire their kid who are under 18 and 21 is for these 2 reasons. One of the reasons is to avoid self-employment tax, FICA tax for a W-2, which is almost 15%. So if you meet the requirement, then you can avoid 15% of FICA tax and also FUTA. FUTA is unemployment tax. FICA is basically social security tax. So how do you do that? If your kid is under 18 years old, then you can avoid FICA tax, that's self-employment 15% tax. If your kid is under 21, then you can also avoid FUTA tax until 21. This runs out faster. When can you do that? Here's the difference. If you're a sole proprietor, meaning you just open up a business without any partners and you're the only owner, or also with a single member LLC. Okay, SM LLC basically means single member LLC, or spousal partnership. What is spousal partnership? Spousal partnerships are because only you and your spouse is a partner in a partnership. There's no outside partners. It's a spousal partnership, and it's a multi-member LLC. So if you run a business like spousal partnership or multi-member LLC or sole proprietorship or single member LLC, then you can avoid this FICA tax. In the same way, if you go and run a business as a C Corp or an S Corp or a non-spousal partnership, meaning you're a partner and you have a third-party partner, which is not your spouse, then you cannot avoid self-employment tax. Okay, remember, we are not talking about income tax. We're talking about this FICA tax, which is around 15%, and FUTA tax. Those are the tax we're talking about. So you need to understand, whenever you go into the business, if you don't need an S corporation and your tax savings is better with this, you need to understand you might need to operate as sole proprietorship or just a multi-member spousal partnership if you're going to hire your kids versus running an S Corp. S Corp can save you taxes. You can do tax planning with your tax advisor, but you need to factor these in before you can make those decisions. Now, keeping this in mind, I just want to go through very high-level tax benefit. What's the tax benefit of hiring your kids? Remember, first is you get to deduct that expense. If you pay your kids $20,000, that's a business expense. You get to deduct that. When you deduct that, it goes away from your tax bracket and goes to your children's tax bracket, which can be at 10% or even 0%, right? And if you're not paying any, children is less than 18-year-old, like we discussed earlier, or 21-year-old, you can also avoid FICA and FUTA tax. So those are tax reasons to hire kids. The other one is if you have some retirement account at your employee at your business, and you also have, sometimes you can pay student loans as your employee benefits. If you have some kind of benefits like that, health insurance, then sometimes it's better to hire your kid. So those are tax benefit. So let's talk about how much can you pay, because this is the biggest question. Okay, how much can I pay and not be in a bad situation? I know it's a lot of words here. In the next few minutes, I'll show you some numbers here, but this is how it works. Everyone has a threshold that you don't have to file a tax return. We want to be below that, or below zero taxable income. There's something called a standard deduction. Everyone gets to deduct this, meaning 2024 is $14,600. So if you pay less than $14,600 to your kid, they don't have to file a tax return if they pay you W-2. If you pay them 1099, then they will have to file a tax return. But the taxable income will be zero. And then if you also put in their IRA account, then you can pay up to almost $21,000. Let me tell you how this works. There are two situations, and I'll explain what this is. I want you to focus on this bottom portion right now here. How do you calculate taxable income? Very simple, right? You have an income, you get a standard deduction, and if you contribute to your traditional IRA, you get to deduct that too, and here's the taxable income. So your standard deduction is $14,000, your traditional IRA account is $7,000, right? So if you pay your kids $6,000, look at this, $6,000 less standard deduction is already zero. It's negative. So you're not paying any taxes. When you are not paying any taxes, make sure you do not put money into traditional IRA, because traditional IRA helps you reduce your taxable income, which we do not need to reduce already because standard deduction is already reducing your income to zero anyway, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're going to pay less than standard deduction, make sure you put money into a Roth IRA versus traditional IRA. Roth IRA, again, I'm not going to go over a difference between traditional IRA and Roth IRA. There's going to be another video on that one. But make sure you put in a Roth IRA. And what's the difference between 1099 and W-2? Let's go through this. If your kid is, again, less than those ages we talked about, if you pay them $6,000 each, there's no FICA FUTA tax at 1099. They will pay self-employment tax. Filing is free. This is tax return filing is free. So the cost is around $900. If you run a W-2, then you might have to hire a payroll company for W-2 filing and payroll report filing, so it might be $800. Meaning it's very comparable what you pay. But remember, if you use a W-2, then you might not qualify for solo 401ks and those kind of other benefits. So make sure you understand that when you are making this distinction here, okay? So in the same way, what happens if you pay them more than the standard deduction? If you pay less than or equal to standard deduction, everyone understands, right? You pay them zero taxable income, no taxes, put the money into a maximum amount that you can put in the Roth IRA and move on. If you pay them more, let's say you pay them $20,000, same concept, income, less standard deduction. Now there's a remaining $5,400. Now, if you want to pay zero taxes, then you want to put the $5,400 into your traditional account, not a Roth account. If you do that, you get to deduct that and taxable incomes becomes zero. Remember, you can go up to $7,000 here, right? So you can pay them a little higher. I'm just giving you a random example. So if you're gonna pay more than standard deduction, put the remaining amount in traditional IRA and it goes on to zero. Now, what's the difference? Same concept. W-2, no FICA, no these taxes are applicable. If you go down here, you'll see there's a $800 fee, same fees to run a payroll. Self-employment tax, you might have to pay $3,000 of self-employment tax on the 1099. So you need to make a decision which you want to do. But if you issue W-2 and you on your own hand cannot save $30,000 from a solo 401k, then you might need to reissue this versus this, even though you're saving, around $2,200 by issuing W-2. So you need to understand that, okay? I know it's a lot of numbers. You do need to work with your own advisor to tell you exactly how this works, but I'm just trying to clarify some basic questions here. Last few things is, hey, how to get this started? Have a business. You need to define a job, responsibilities for your kids, and have a fair market, ways for them, and then pay them for the work they did. That's how you start. Very simple, right? So make sure you comply with employment laws. Make sure you keep records for your payroll. You need to withhold and remit taxes if you need to on the W-2. You also need to help your children file a tax return if required, and you need to also follow child labor law. Now, one last thing I want to say before I let you guys go is this. Remember, if you pay less than standard deduction, W-2, there's no tax return filing requirement. 1099, there's always a tax return filing requirement. If you pay them more than $400, you will have to file a tax return. So W-2, if you pay less than $14,000, there's never a tax filing requirement. 1099, if you pay, as soon as you pay more than $400, there will be tax filing requirement. That's something you need to understand. Okay. Hey, thank you so much for listening. We're going to share more content. So if you want to follow us and subscribe, you'll get videos. Thank you.